Once Bitten here, the Battle Report. So this is the game I played the night prior to the U.S. Masters. It's a game I was supposed to play as part of the play-in tournament to see if I would make the Masters. Because of a last-minute drop by another player, I was able to step to the Masters anyway, and this guy and I wanted to play our game. We'd been preparing for it, thinking about it, and so we thought we'd just have a friendly game. They call it the Death Star of all Death Stars. I've never quite seen a list put together like this. So let's see, it's based on Swedish comp. I'm a 13-5, he's a 12-9, so I'm up by 60 points to begin the game. If this were the play-in tournament, I would only need to win by 1 point. If this were a regular tournament and I was hoping to have a decent win, I think this would be a horrible, horrible matchup for me. What I'm starting to see, though, is I'm starting to recognize is sometimes you just have a bad matchup and you shouldn't go for the big win. And it might be better just to go for the small win anyway. So, anywho, this is my Bretonnias versus Warriors of Chaos. He has about 300 points outside of one unit. So those roughly 300 points are 2 units of Warhounds, a Slanesh Chariot, and a Mark of Tzeentch War Altar. Look at that War Altar. The painting on this stuff is just absolutely amazing. And there's, the second unit of Warhounds is to the left of this, but that's all he has. Everything else, he pretty much ties into one unit, which makes it a list that, obviously that unit is rock hard, and he has enough things built into it that it's hard to whittle it down. And so it's hard to get points out of the list. So my thinking going into this game, because I had a chance to prepare for it, was win by 1 point. Take your 60-point comp advantage. Take the 300 points available. I think between those two things, it comes to 380 points. Try not to bleed points, or if you bleed them, bleed less than 380. And I don't love that strategy. I just don't know what else to do. Yeah. All right, so let's look at that unit a little bit. It's a unit of Chaos Warriors, Mark of Tzeentch, hand weapon shield. So tough as nails in combat. They're protected. They've got the blasted standard, which makes most shooting, kind of nullifies it. Of course, there's always a chance when you roll for each hit that you'll roll a 1 and the strength doubles, and that can work okay, but for the most part, they're protected from shooting. So he's got a Chaos Sword on disc. So he starts out outside the unit. He knows he's going to go first. He's going to fly into the unit. That's why he says he's in the unit. He's in the unit when he needs to be. The problem, and I didn't know this going into the game, is that when character on Tzeentch is with that unit, their movement is only 1. And I didn't realize that, but whatever. It's just me not knowing, not thinking about some of the rules. So this is generally a Chaos Lord on disc, Mark of Tzeentch, Talisman of Preservation. So he's got 3 up ward save, and Sword of Might, whatever. So this guy, any Chaos Sword is tough in combat. I think what really makes these guys tough for me is the disc, because your ability to fly 20 inches makes it easier for you out of my line of sight, and once you get behind my lines, it's just really tough. So then he has a second Lord level fighty character. This guy he keeps relatively cheap, just gives him a great weapon. Gives him a 5 upward save plus Mark of Tzeentch, so there's a 4 upward save, just on foot in the unit. And then a third Chaos Lord character. Again, this one has a 6 upward that's boosted down to a 5 up with the Mark of Tzeentch and another great weapon. So, yeah, but even if he flies his general out, that's 2 Chaos Lords at strength 7 with 4 up or a 5 upward save. Ouch. He has his BSB in there, of course. Of course, he's Mark of Tzeentch. And the Razor standards. This unit is now strength 4 armor piercing, which is just the worst thing in the world against Bretts. Yeah, so there's that. And then he's got a level 2 Lore of Metal, which is just awful against Bretts. Obsidian Lodestone, so they've got MR3. So now it's tough to do a lot of damage with magic. So they're pretty protected from shooting. They're protected from magic. They're rock hard in combat. I'm open to ideas to how you deal with a unit like this. He also has a Sorcerer Lord, just like the General. This guy, he puts him in the unit to protect him. Now, even when they're in the unit, they don't get Lookout Sirs, and so I can still target them with trebuchets. If I had cannons, you can target them. The problem is, they have a 3 up ward. Now, I think if they're critical, then you just go ahead and do it, and you hope they fail the 3 up ward. But yeah, that's still pretty tough. So, and what's interesting too is this guy has the lore of undeath, which I thought would be really interesting. I've never played against it. I know roughly what it does. Um, so I was excited to play against that. I was more excited to play against it in a friendly game. I'm glad this wasn't the pre-tournament game. So my strategy was I want to take my units and start them out real wide. This army does not have great ranged attacks, and so I wasn't really worried about units panicking off the board. I wanted to be able to pick my fights and just not get in a fight if I can help it. So put Peg Knights over here. Their job is just to get points for those dogs. Same with my Bowmen, just get the dogs. Put my BSB and my Prophetess over here with the Knights Errant. Prophetess is with them so that if she blows up, she's only killing Knights Errant. They're never that great in combat anyway. And my BSB is over here because I just didn't want him where all the action was. I wanted him safe and preserving those points. You can see the Trebuchet. Like I said, the archers. So I've got one unit here in the middle. They've got oh, I'm blanking out. Yeah, so these guys, I think I just don't remember now. I think I gave them the movement banner so that they would be better equipped to get out of the way. And the only reason I'm hesitant on that is because usually I put the Impetuous Knight with the movement banner, and I didn't do that this game. But I may have just not done that because it just didn't matter as much. I didn't want the Impetuous Knight here because I just don't care about these guys charging. Their job is to pose a target in the middle of the table for the Chaos Warriors to move toward, and then I'm thinking if I need to, I march by them, or I reform and come behind the hill, which blocks line of sight. Like I said, there's a Paladin in with them. Right next to him is my Lord. He's got Heroic Killing Blow with the Always Strikes First sword. He's got a 2-up rerollable. I've play tested him against the Chaos Lord on disc, and it's never likely to get Heroic Killing Blow on the guy. Not without the Heartwood Lance. I love the Heartwood Lance. But he poses a threat, and so that's mainly what I'm hoping to use him for. And if he goes into the Chaos Lord with a block of knights who can provide combat res, it usually takes at least 2 or 3 rounds of combat for his Chaos Lord to kill my guy. So another unit of Peg Knights, 2 units of 5. I thought it's larger than I've ever done, but thought I'd try it. Trebuchet behind him, 3rd unit of Knights. This one has the Impetuous Knight in there to give them a long reach. Again, over on the right side, we're trying to pick up the dogs, the chariot, and the war altar. And a block of knights can do that very well. So Vanguard looks like that. And we go to Warriors turn 1. So he marches his Chaos Warriors up. He flies his characters into it. On the right, he held back a little bit. He was worried about me getting a long charge with the Impetuous Knight. And we go to Bretonnia turn 1. On the right, I made a mistake, and then I learned from it for the left. But so look in the woods. He raised a unit of Spirit Hosts in the woods on his turn with Lore of Undeath. On my turn, just because I wasn't thinking about it, I declared a charge for my Peg Knights into his Warhounds, who of course just fled. And then I had a failed charge, and now he's going to be able to charge me with the Spirit Host. It was unnecessary, it was dumb, it was flippant, and a mistake. What I did on the left is what I should have done on the right, and just marched my Peg Knights up, put them right in front of the dogs, so that I put him such I didn't think he could wheel around them, but he ended up being able to, I guess. Basically, what I was trying to do is say, you can charge me if you want, I'll take my chances, and you really can't escape me. Yeah, there's the failed charge. During the magic phase, I cast a regular comet. And again, I'm not really targeting his Death Star because I've kind of given up hope of being able to do much to the Death Star. So I'm hoping here to whittle these guys down in wounds. I think the best way to take them out is through combat res, but sometimes that doesn't work, and so let's do what we can. The problem is, in casting the comet, I dimensionally cascaded, put a wound on my Prophetess, blew up 2/3 of my Knights Errant unit. So now if they lose one more model, I give up half points for that unit, and that's big. I can't afford that. So they were never built for combat necessarily anyway. There were only 9, and they're the lowest level knights. But now they're just going to try to conserve their own points the rest of the game. And then during shooting, in hindsight, I probably should just go ahead and use those trebuchets just to target his Death Star, just to whittle them down, just in case, because you never know. But again, my plan was to avoid them. So I target over here, the Chariot's the best one because there's no ward save, hit it, kill it, and that's a significant threat off the table, and it's some points. Go to Warriors turn 2. Uh, this is where I realized I made a second mistake. He was able to fly his sorcerer out of his unit and out of line of sight of my night buses. And I'm telling you that I went into this tournament this weekend saying, don't let that happen, and I let it happen. And he could have done it with his general too. The sorcerer had to fly from the far side of the unit. His general could have flown, was even closer. So really miffed at myself for making that mistake. Anyway, you can see how he moves otherwise. Yeah, that's just dumb. He charged the Spirit Host of my Peg Knights, and he grew during his magic phase a unit of skeletons that my Knights could have charged, but if they did, his Chaos Warriors his Deathstar could have easily countercharged them. And I kind of freaked out and charged my Paladin at him just to hold them up. So if he does charge and make it to my Paladin, at least it's fewer points. Yeah, otherwise I took my General and I parked him such that he can help out clear the Spirit Host out, or at least he poses a threat to the Death Star. Now, I did math on the Death Stars. As far as I could tell, I only did it without the General in there, and I need like 2 lances to the face and both Peg Knights in the flank of it. So short of having most of my army charging that thing, again, I'm just not going to charge it. But I also looked at what it took to take out if his Lord on disc was outside the unit, and my General in there with a block of Knights usually does pretty well. So yeah, over here, I think I charged the War Altar with my Impetuous Lance, and I actually only needed maybe a 20-inch charge to get there, and with the Impetuous Lance, that's not that difficult, so he fled it. And then he was in range of my Peg Knights on the left. I thought I had him, and so they charged him, and he rolled like nothing. I thought I was going to bounce this guy off the board, and he's just, yeah, it worked out well for him. Warriors turn 3. His General charges my Paladin, who's tied up with the unit of skeletons, and he fails the charge. That was huge. He didn't need much. I want to say he was 16 inches away, and he rolled on Swift Stride, he rolled a 5. That was huge. And it's not just because he would have gotten the Paladin points, but he's just all up in my business at that point. And that would have been rough. Failing that was huge. He's actually set up now, if you see my General and that unit of Knights, he's set up for charges in the flank, which may or may not be the wise thing to do, but he's set up for that. His Sorcerer charges my Trebuchet on the right. Yeah, there's the failed charge. That was appreciated. And otherwise, you can see he rallied, I think 1 unit of dogs right off the board. His War Altar and his other unit of dogs rallied, but there's another comet there. So I put 1 wound on the War Altar so far, so I'm hoping that comet can just kill the dogs and put some more wounds on the War Altar. And at the end of Warriors turn 3, it looks like this. So if you look at the top, his dogs are gone, and now the War Altars has 3 wounds. I think there's only 2 remaining, so that's nice. The Paladin and the Skeletons are still just kind of knocking around together. The Spirit Host still tying up my Peg Knights, and the Sorcerer Lord, the Sorcerer Lord easily kills my Trebuchet. Yep, there's the carnage at the back of the table. And yeah, and he grew another Spirit Host. This one I'm not worried about. I've got a big bus of Knights that can pop that thing through combat res. Problem is I'm facing the wrong way. And I don't know if it's better just to move away from it or to turn around and face it, because his Death Star is still kind of hanging out at the middle of the table. It's not all up in my business. So this is what it looks like at the beginning of Bretonnia turn 3. And this is a scenario that I played around with a lot. How do you beat the General? So if I go in there with my General with Heroic Killing Blow and with a big block of Knights to provide static combat res, my General gets in a challenge with him and has a chance of getting Heroic Killing Blow. It's not a great chance. I'm hitting on 4s, rerollable. I think rerollable, maybe not. I don't know. And then I have to roll a 6, and then he has to roll a 1 or 2. It's not super likely, but with a charge, a flank, a banner, and 2 or 3 ranks, depending on how many dangerous train tests I fail, that's just a lot of static combat res. And then he's actually, it's hard for him to wound me because I've got a 2-up rollable armor save, and he's strength 5. Strength 6, I guess. Yeah, so basically I've got a 5-up armor, then another 5-up armor, then a 5-up ward. And it's just kind of hard to get wounds through there. So my thinking is, if you can get that, he'll be testing on somewhere between a 4 or a 6, and the only downside is he's right next to his BSB. So a 6 rerollable is a good chance you would roll that, but a 4 rerollable, not necessarily. So if this is the play-in tournament, I told myself I wasn't going to take chances, and I would not have charged the general. But as this was a fun game, I said, let's go in and let's see if we can make it happen. So this is what happens. My general charges in, he makes it. The night bus on the right charges in, they make it. Then they hit the woods. I have to take 12 dangerous terrain tests, and I fail 4 of them. Damn it. And then, that was huge. I needed to fail like 2. 2 is odds, and I needed it to be 2, because if I do any more than that, then that's 1 less rank that I have. But it didn't matter, because then I had to take a panic test, and they failed it and ran to the right. Damn it. Damn it. I was so ticked. That sucks. I think I could have lost 3 and would have been okay, but I lost 4. Yeah. Yeah, so that happened. It was a real risk too, because I might have broken them, but if I break them, I still have to catch them. And I can't afford to pursue with a night bus, because then I'm parked right in front of his Deathstar. I could maybe pursue with my general, and then if he countercharges his Deathstar and I lose my general, I'm still up on points, trading his general for mine. But again, that assumes that I catch his general. But it doesn't matter, because now that the bus isn't in there, my general's just going to die. And over here, Peg Knight's charge the War Altar. I'm not confident that I'm going to get the wounds on it, but with the charge and a flank, I'm hoping just to avoid being wounded by him and beat him through combat res. So we go to Warriors Chaos turn 4. The Peg Knights, by the way, beat the War Altar. So now I've killed everything I wanted to kill. I killed the Chariot, both units of dogs, and the War Altar. Those are the points I was sure I could get. Now it's a matter of, can I avoid bleeding points? And the answer is no, probably not at this point. My general does not get a heroic killing blow off on his, of course. I win combat. He easily passes his break test, turns to face me, and my general is toast. I reform Knights at the bottom, because why not? His Death Star's nowhere near there. They can at least face towards his stuff, like the Spirit Host, and keep him from causing me problems. Yeah, that's not good. And of course, this guy is just flying around. That marker is not wounds, by the way. It's his tokens for the Lore of Undeath. So that's not good. Yeah, he kills my general, which is not a surprise. And we go to Bretonnia turn 4. At this point, what's she going to do? The Peg Knights are just stuck there with the Spirit Host. My Knights at the bottom charge the Spirit Host, but it doesn't matter. I'll pop through combat res, but it just doesn't matter. My Paladin cannot seem to beat the skeletons, so he's going to get countercharged by his general. And what else is going on here? Looks like he raised something right. Oh, he raised another Spirit Host right behind my Peg Knights. So on his next turn, he can charge them in, and my Peg Knights are now going to have a charge in the rear against them, and they're probably going to break. Which actually may be the best thing for me, is just break if you can get away, and then hope to somehow manage it. My Knights rallied, which was appreciated. Warriors turn 5, his general charges my Paladin. No surprise there. His Spirit Host charges my Peg Knights. Yeah, that's 1 dead Paladin. My Paladin needs to be able to kill 10 skeletons faster than he did. And then over here, yeah, so he raised those, I think he raised the Spirit Host, the Hex Wraiths first. And I was thinking, that's actually not a big deal. If I can pass a march test, I can get away from them, because I don't think they can march. So with their regular movement, I don't think they have enough movement to come get me. And so that's nice. And then he raised up the skeletons right in front of me, and I was trying to stop it, and I just couldn't. So now my best hope is to do a reform and move 8 inches down the board, and then again, I might be able to get far enough away from him to where if he can't march, he can't touch me. So all hope is not lost, but it's certainly not looking good for that unit. Paladin easily dies. He faces my bowman. Yeah, Warriors Chaos turn 5. I think that's a wrap-up picture. Bretonnia turn 5. I do a swift reform and fail it. This unit is just pissing me off now. They just really are. So having failed the reform, the swift, I just reform so that at least I'm that, whatever. Damn it. And otherwise, I'm just trying to save points. Go to Warriors turn 6. Hex Rays pop through. They do a ton of wounds. And my unit then fails its panic test again and runs off the board. Like, of course they did. And the game ends like that. So that was interesting. I think, like I said, if this is the plan and I hadn't charged as general, I think it was still going to be tough to avoid losing 380 points. And of course, once his general comes out, at least I've got a trebuchet that can lob rocks on his head, and I've got magic with Lord of Heavens to try to get some wounds on him. And you never know, you can get lucky with that. If I kills his general, then I think I have a really good chance of just doing more wounds than he did. But we played it the way we played it. It was fun, and certainly a big win for the Warriors. And George wanted to get his picture on the channel, so George, nice job. There we go. So, as far as like an after action report, this movement this mistake I made on the right, it was good that it happened this game because for most of the rest of the term, I think with one exception, I never made this mistake again. There was no reason to charge the dogs here. Where you see that blue square, that's where spirit hosts were. All I had to do was fly my Pegasus Knights up and park them right in front of the dogs such that his chariot couldn't get a charge on me. And then all they could do would be charge me with the dogs, and I think I win that on my turn, and then can reform and either charge him or fly out of line of sight. Or we stick around and his units are all blocked up. So I think that's the better move to do. I'm always worried about chaff because people, if they can chaff up my lances when I need the critical charges, that wins the game for them. So yes, I appreciate why I did it, but again, I had other options. Now that I think about it too, if I had parked my Peg Knights in front of me, charges him his dogs, and I do a couple wounds, he could probably make it to where his chariot could see, and then I lose my Peg Knights. Probably be best just to fly out of line of sight and use my shooting and my magic to take care of his chaff, and use the Peg Knights to pose flank threats. Mistake number 2, you cannot let people fly behind your lines. I knew it. If you look on the left, my BSB's unit was protecting him from flying to my left, and to my right, all I really would have to do was angle my Knight of the Realm unit to the right a little bit, and it would have protected from that. And it was good it happened this game because I was better at it the rest of the tourney. I've got to quit making that mistake. Let's see. There's a mistake being made here. Oh, the Paladin charging his skeletons. I think, yeah, I didn't want to charge the whole unit because then his Deathstar or his General charges my whole unit. Like he could have charged his his General at my unit and just tied him up, then walked his Deathstar up and charge next turn and just kill me. I think it'd be better just to have ignored him, kept the Paladin with that unit, maybe shot at the skeletons, and then just not worry about him too much. Probably the most I would have lost would have been my archers, and that's not game breaking. So, and then lastly, yeah, this is just the kind of move you go for when you're either trying to have fun or you're desperate, because best case scenario is on a 4 rerollable. Worst case scenario is a 6 rerollable, and then you have the problems of trying to catch him. He still might kill my lord. I mean, just too many things can happen. It's not worth the risk. So, anyway, those are my thoughts after the game of what mistakes I made trying to learn from it. But, I mean, those things I realized that game, and I think that helped me for the tournament because I didn't make those mistakes the next day. Anyway, that was the game. Hope you enjoyed it.
Hey everyone, Once Bitten here. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. As you know, YouTube has several functions you can use to interact with videos such as this. You can like the video, you can leave a comment, you can favorite the video. I want you to know that I appreciate it when you do things like that. It feels much more interactive than simply me talking to a screen. So if you're willing to do so, please like, comment, and favorite the videos. Subscribe to the channel if you want, and you certainly are welcome to share this video on your blog or other websites if you are so inclined. Again, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.